Okay. Good morning, everybody. So we're going to get started because there might be some more people coming in, but we're going to get started. Thanks for coming to our session, Pitching Scala or Pitching TypeSafe Reactive Platform in the Enterprise. I wanted to introduce ourselves. My name is Mike Kelland. I'm the CEO of BoldRadius. We're a Canadian company that helps companies to adopt the TypeSafe Reactive Platform.
I'm Alejandro. I'm a senior developer at BoldRadius.
So today we're going to talk to you about a problem that we saw as we were talking to all of our clients. And the problem that we saw was that a lot of people really want to use the TypeSafe Reactive Platform. They want to use Play, they want to use Scala, they want to use Akka in their daily work, but they're challenged because their organization doesn't yet use those technologies, and they want to get them in there. And so we saw a lot of what we call developer advocates out there in the field saying, hey, I just really want to work in these technologies. I think they're going to solve our business problems. They're a lot of fun, right? I can be more productive, and it's a skill that I want to have. And they were hitting walls in their organizations to try to get these things in there. So today what we're going to do is we're actually going to listen to you guys as much as we can to hear about challenges and successes as we go through this. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interactive. So be prepared to participate as we go through this. So we're going to start off with a demonstration of the GoTypeSafe tool. So it's go.typesafe.com. You guys all have cards. It has it on the back. And we're going to play around with the cards in a minute. But I'll have Alex walk through a demo to start with.
Sure. Okay, so again, like Mike said, the intention of GoTypeSafe is to help you guys, I want to move maybe away from the speaker a bit, is to help you guys pitch the TypeSafe Reactive Platform at your workplace. Right, so we all have different motivations for why this is interesting for us from a technical standpoint. So GoTypeSafe starts from the principle that there are fundamentally four very popular motivations for the TypeSafe Reactive Platform: scalability, productivity within your team, modernizing architecture or a series of systems that already exist, and agility and quality within your team. Okay, so we've identified those four as being the most popular. We already have someone who mentioned there's one that's missing over here, but we'll get to questions, you guys will get to voice your opinions on that. So the intention, again, of the tool is that you can pick one of those motivations, the one that's more relevant for you, and then you'll get a series of materials that will help you, again, have arguments or lead the discussion within your organization. And of course, it's bound to happen that when we're talking, the wireless won't work on my laptop. Do you know if you're connected here, Adam?
Certainly try.
We can try. Let's see that.
So as you guys go through that, everybody here should have two cards, a green one and a red one. Does anybody not have a card? Okay, excellent.
Excellent. And we're back. Okay, so I just picked a scalability of one of the motivations. Let's say that I believe Scala, Akka, will bring tremendous advantages in terms of scalability and something that we're building or that we're bound to build at some point. So the first step in the GoTypeSafe tool is to show off. How can you get something really quickly to show the advantages of these technologies, right? So a lot of them will provide, for example, templates, activator templates, that get a small application quickly up and running so that you can build something small that you can show off to your peers and you can show off to your boss. So templates, demo videos, links to applications that are already using this platform for scalability reasons, okay? So great, you got a quick demo up and running, you have some code to show off, you become familiar with some of the pieces in there. What's the next step? So the next step is you want to, again, have a conversation with your team, your managers. Now you start moving kind of up on how to justify to use this. So you get a series of documents. This could be case studies. This could be, again, demos on existing systems that are using the TypeSafe Reactive Platform for scalability. So you can use that, again, to drive the conversation, to send to skeptics or people who are new to these technologies, right? And finally, to kind of round, if that was not enough, then you get more of an angle in terms of stats. Again, kind of more, how to build a team, how to create a team around these kinds of abilities, skills, and technologies. and particularly, study cases on the larger names that are out there that are already using the TypeSafe reactive platform and that have proof that it works. So again, if we go back to GoTypeSafe, we have another 3. So I'm going to go back to the home here. And like I mentioned, there are 4 of those. So I picked scalability, but you get something similar if you pick any of the other 3 motivations: productivity, modernization, agility, and quality. Okay? So that's my very short demo. It's out there. Maybe you can do a quick show of hands. Who's already looked at this or used this tool at all? Okay, a handful of you. Good, excellent. So maybe we can switch back and I'll hand it over to Mike.
Okay, so this is where we're going to start getting interactive with everything. So first of all, let me just introduce the other folks in the room here. So we've got Adam Murray at the front of the room from BoldRadius, who's going to be our stenographer and is going to control a little bit of the flow of things. Dave Sugden down here, who's going to be wandering around with the mic once we get to the very interactive parts, and Patrick Prémont, who has been handing out cards as well. So let's start off. So everybody in the room who is using TypeSafe reactive platform in your day job, stand up, please, if you're using it in your day job every day. Fantastic. This is great. Okay, stay standing. Everybody stay standing. Don't sit down yet. All right. Stand up if your company is investing in your learning of Scala, Akka, or Play, and/or Play. Keep standing. So don't sit down at any point here. Holy cow. People are, well, I guess everybody's at Scala Days. This is kind of a dumb question, right? Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, let's keep going through them. If you're using it on a personal project, stand up. Okay, we got a few more people. Great, great. If you have started learning it on your own, but you're not yet using it in a project, stand up. Okay. I can't even see if, there we go. We've got a couple more people coming up. Okay, and you're trying to convince your team to try it? Everybody else? No? Okay. Have we got everybody standing? If you have an interest in Scala, stand up. All right, great. Okay, so we got everybody up. That's great. So what I'm going to ask everybody to do now is a couple of things. This is going to be a very interactive session. If you have empty space either in front of you or beside you, can you guys all come forward a little bit and try to consolidate down into more the front of the room? And as you're doing that, please introduce yourself to at least one other person who you don't know as you're going through. So we'll give you guys 2 minutes to do this. Come on down. Come on to the left. Introduce yourself around. All right, guys, let's try to find seats now. Push in, consolidate in. You all know each other now, so you can close up the empty seats beside you. Everybody should be real friendly with each other at this point. We still got people coming in. This is great. Okay. So what we're going to do is, this is the secret of this session, which I don't think we told anybody. We're not here to present to you. We're actually here to learn from you, and we want to find out how we're doing with this GoTypeSafe tool. And in the process, we're going to do an activity that is going to try to drive out some answers as to whether we've got things right here or whether we've got more to learn, and what people's experiences have been with this action of getting the TypeSafe reactive platform going at their work. So we're going to run an exercise with the cards that you guys have. We're going to put a question up on the board, and there's a red side and a green side, as you guys see here. If you If the red side applies to you, hold up your red card nice and high. If the green side applies to you, hold up your green card nice and high. So I'll let Alex take it from here.
Excellent. So we have a few of these. Let's do the first one. So again, hold up your green card and hold it up so we can see it because we're going to drive the conversation from that. If you have adopted a reactive platform for scalability reasons, again, we said there are a few motivations for that, right? So green if that's been your motivation, red if you have challenges for scalability and you think the platform can help you, okay? Excellent. Awesome, lots of green, lots of reds. Okay, so this is the part, no, hold them up, keep them up for a second, because I want to hear from some of you guys. So I'm going to pick reds first. If you can tell me a little bit about why you think scalability is a challenge for you and why you think the platform can help you. So some of the reds. Who can share a little bit of where they are? We'll pick randomly. Well, so I'll volunteer someone. There we go. Will you share?
I'm currently involved in building an education platform, so we're challenged by scalability issues because currently next year 40,000 children are going to use the platform, but eventually, of course, they want hundreds of thousands of children to use it, so that's why we have scalability concerns.
Why do you think the platform will help?
Well, I'm a fan of Akka, so I think Akka is a way to solve it. Yeah.
Thanks. Any other reds? I see a red here. Will you share? Oh yeah, excellent.
So I'm sort of here working with AdPilot from Warsaw. We have an existing mostly Java system. So we have scalability challenges, definitely. I think I'd say we think the reactive platform might help, but we have some serious doubts. So we have to wait and see. Okay, but we're doing very, very challenging and big and fast things already. And basically the question is how well will it survive under the pressure?
So let's can we just ask a follow-up question? So what are the doubts that you have about the platform? Or maybe just one big doubt that we can talk about as a team.
I mean, basically the question is how much can you parallelize interaction, and how far, given you've got tens of thousands of transactions coming in per second or more, how much can we start to have those different transactions interact with each other without ending up with much, much too complicated problems?
Okay, so that's great. So this is where the greens come in. So do we have anybody who held up a green card who's dealt with that issue and can offer a comment on that particular doubt? Down here? Anybody who held, if you've dealt with that interaction problem between in the scalability that was just mentioned, and you had a green card up and can tell us about it, can you hold up a green card? Anybody? No. All right.
I see a nodding here in the front. Is that a yes? Is that a yes, will you share? No?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, what I was going to say is that there's plenty of awesome people here in the conference that will definitely have answers for that. Personally, I have some experience with Akka, so I'm definitely maybe up to connecting with you and getting some more specifics and maybe helping out with that. Yeah.
And definitely have a look at the resources that we have in GoTypeSafe around scalability. There's a lot of resources there to talk about the different things that people have done in terms of case studies and things like that that might be a value there.
Also, as we move on with the questions, we'll have maybe more specific topics that we can dig into. Okay.
Okay, so if you adopted the platform to increase your productivity, hold up a green card, nice and high. All right. And if you have productivity challenges and think that the platform could help, let's hold up a red card. Okay, so let's start with the greens today. Do I have anybody on the green side who's willing to talk a little bit about how the platform helped them with productivity? Would you be willing to share? No? Okay. Anybody else with a green card? Oh, yeah? Oh, you got to do it. Okay.
Yeah, I work for the Flemish government in Belgium, where we have a team that we have now 5 applications running in Scala, and basically the team choose to move to Scala just because they feel they can write much more elegant code, write less, and get better results. So purely because they feel they get more productive with that, simply.
Wonderful. And have you seen any measures of that productivity, lower defect counts or quicker times to launch?
You mean time for the developers to learn it and?
Well, in terms of just getting code out the door as stable product, have you seen any metrics around it, or is it just a general feeling that this is more productive?
Just more general feeling and.
Great. Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful.
Hi, I work for Viacom's company behind MTV, and we adopted Scala last year, basically, and we had some measures, because the main challenge was convincing management that Scala is safe bet. And it was at the team that the most team members were still in Java learning Scala. So we convinced our manager to run an experiment for a short time, like for a month, because we were starting to build a new system, and we built 2 versions for a month. One in Java, in every environment that everybody knew, like Spring, all known stuff, and second part in Scala, Spray, Akka. And after that month, we have the same functionality, but even though that team was still learning, we used about 30% less time in reported time. We had more code coverage and about 30% less lines of code counting all configuration and all that stuff. And it was the main driver that helps us to convince that we can go that way.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Some of the red cards, yeah. Right on. Some of the red cards. Are there any red cards who are having challenges with productivity and think that this could help out? And maybe you're having some challenges convincing their organization that productivity is a challenge. I'd love to hear a story like this, like we're running into a wall, we think it could help, but we can't convince our organization. Anybody on the red cards? No. Okay, great. Oh, up there. Yes, that's great. Yeah.
Could you say your name, please?
Yes, I'm Leo from Swiss Television. Yeah, I'd just like to share that one of the big problems I have convincing others, I'm in the management side, so for my own service it's easy, but for other parts of the company to actually adopt these technologies, I'm said all the time that, well, it will be difficult to find developers with that kind of skills. That's strange to see that here, but and it will cost more money, and training them will, yeah, it will be difficult. I'm actually convinced, and I have a small experience with that actually it's doable, and it actually a productivity gain, but still it's a challenge to convince others there.
That's a really really good point. And in GoTypeSafe, we talk a little bit about building your Scala team and all the different ways that you can either train or acquire developers. But it's also very interesting to see. I think Martin talked about this, was that Scala actually attracts very senior developers to your team. At the same time, people think it's very challenging to actually acquire those developers in the first place. It seems like that both arguments are at play. But there's definitely defined paths for how you can create those Scala teams and those development teams, even if there aren't any people who already have experience around you. But thanks for sharing. No, that's fantastic.
And just want to add, we are hiring.
Pitch, of course. Okay,
all right,
should
Alex?
we do another one? Yeah. So again, green if you've adopted the platform to improve quality. So we're talking about defects particularly. And red if you think you can, or we need to improve quality and you think the platform can help, but you haven't gone there yet. Okay, so we have a few. So red, there's less reds than green. So can we hear from you guys? And why do you think that's a challenge in which the platform could help? Reds? I saw a couple of reds. Would you like to share? Yeah, maybe. Thank you.
Asko Kauppi, Finland. In my current work, I'm seeing like Java code written by others, which it's not really pleasant to read that much. And I'm biased, of course, on this, but I would kind of wish to see a future where I can read 3 times less of lines, and they would be in Scala, and it would be mostly non-mutable. So I think that's a huge step to improving quality, which means that we can also get more predictable development times. So it's less of bug hunting and more just like getting further with the bug.
Excellent. Any other reds? I would like to share a little bit of that. Greens. So we have a few greens. Do you have something to say about quality that you would share?
Yeah, hello, my name is Andreas. I'm working on a retail application that we're transitioning from Java to Scala. And with the Java application, we noticed that, especially in the concurrency modules, we had untraceable errors. So we decided to move to Scala and Akka, and that made our code much more testable and predictable. And yeah, that was a good choice.
Hello, my name is Vladimir. I was used to work for Tinkoff in Russia, and we have an interesting issue with quality. You know, it's I've heard somewhere that about 90% of exceptions in Java logs is null pointers, and so at some point, you know, in Scala that's just difficultly possible. So at some point I was looking to our monitoring tool to see whether, you know, there are some null pointer exceptions, and there was like some about 50 or something, or some couple of hundreds of them, and I was wondering what's that, and so I looked, and it was an Android application statistics uploaded to server, so it was not our Scala application. So that was funny.
Thank you. And of course, goes without saying, Reds, you know, take note of who the greens are, because you're going to want to talk to them as well. Should we move to the next?
Okay. So if you have built, and we talked about team building, so this is really great. So if you've already built a strong technical team in the TypeSafe reactive platform, hold up your green nice and high. Okay, if you found it challenging to build a technical team, let's hold it up the reds. Oh, great. Okay, this is awesome. Hold them up nice and high. This is great. So as we know, this is a common objection to adopting the TypeSafe reactive platform. I can't find the people. I can't find the talented people. Who's going to talk to us about challenges? I want to hear some challenges of building a team. Some reds, keep holding it up if you're willing to talk to us about this.
Hi, I'm Tobias. Well, we find it very challenging to convince developers from using Scala because they have very different personal reasons. Well, I've always written in Perl and Python, and well, Java is something I can easily grasp. These are some language arguments that we get, and then we usually hear something like, well, the management prefers Java, so I learn Java because it's the safe horse to set on if I want to get a job. And then we have that, oh, Scala, that complicated Haskell-like monads, and I don't get it. Well, that's our problems we get when we try to convince developers to learn Scala and to get into depth with it.
So that's great. That's an awesome example, and that cultural change within organizations can be really difficult. Has anybody dealt with that problem and convincing developers themselves? You've got a hand up over here, Alex, back here. Red shirt. Because now we're not talking about management, we're talking about the developers themselves.
So I'm belonging to a service company, and I'm having difficulties convince my colleagues to use Scala. I would describe it as a Scala terror syndrome. They are pretty gifted guys. They would know how to use it, but they have just some very heavy barrier to protect themselves against Scala. They say it's complicated. They find every proof they can find everywhere, anywhere, to raise the barrier and say it's too complicated. No one can use it. And I would like to find a way to convince them. This is all I can say.
Yeah, so that's great. And so this is the same issue. So how do I convince a developer themselves? And we've heard a lot of different ideas around this. You've got a green card up at the back, and maybe we can hear some solutions.
So I'll go to that green and I'll go back to you.
Okay. I was just going to say, a lot of different reasons that people are challenged, the cultural change, the tooling changes, all of those kinds of things. But let's hear.
So I used to freelance for a Java shop, and they had exactly the same person that person had exactly the same problem. So there actually was a manager who wanted to introduce Scala, but not many of the developers wanted to do that. And what he did instead, which I think worked quite well, is for a greenfield project, which wrote new code, he asked people who really, really wanted to use Scala to come together and do the project in Scala to show off to everyone how it could work, that it does work, and show the best features of the language. So rather than trying to convince people who don't want to do it, find the people who do want to do it and get them together.
So build up a critical mass inside the organization and move out from there. I think that's a great idea. One of the things we've also seen is that Akka and Play can provide a really neat little gateway drug to Scala. So a lot of organizations that we've worked with in the past have said, okay, well, we'll try it, Java Play or Java Akka to start with, because that's comfortable. And then as the developers get into that a different frame of thinking and find that it's easier to program with Scala in those frameworks and libraries, it sometimes brings them along as well. So some different ways of doing things. Dave, in fact, had a great quote, I think, when he was early on in Scala, and he said, look, man, Java paid for my house. I get it, right? Like, you don't want to move away from that. So, okay, great. Any other Greens want to comment on the problem of bringing...
A couple here. So
yeah.
I'll go back to you and one more here.
Yeah, that's great.
My name is Jeroen. I work for Trivento in the Netherlands. And I guess it's always difficult when there's change, right? So people have to change what you said. It bought my house, so I know this and I want to do this. I want to exploit my knowledge. And you just can't convince them in a few words. So it's a process. I've been shouting out for a few years now in my company, well, this is cool. And the first times they said, oh, well, you just want to do new things and stop yelling. And then after a time, some people get excited, want to know more and more. And 2 months ago, our CEO said, well, I believe in this, and I will give you 4 guys, got 2 months' time to really dive into this tech. So, and at this point, more and more people are following the Coursera course online. That's a great resource to get more knowledge. And it's growing. It's a process.
Awesome. Yeah. So time takes change sometimes, and that's really valid.
Just a second, because I have someone else here.
Well, the experience I had was that I got much more resistance from senior developers than new developers to learn Scala, because they are coding Java for years, and you move them from their comfort zone. So if you are in a battlefield, like Martin was saying yesterday, you get this situation. So how you move someone that is very comfortable, considered senior, has his knowledge recognized, and say, now we're going to do something totally different, and you feel like a junior developer again. And my take on that is, well, and back to also how to find people. You're not looking for Scala developers. You're looking for people that motivate to learn new things. And these, for me, are the good developers. And if you have a senior developer that doesn't want to to move from his comfort zone, I'm wondering why he's busy with technology, because innovation is constantly moving from this comfort zone. And so people are accommodated, and it's very hard to move them. And basically, I have worked on a team where there was a guy that had no knowledge of Scala, And in 2 months, he was doing things that took me ages to learn because he was very motivated, much more than me, I think. He was also much more smart. And so when you find good people, it just works. And just need motivation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just a small comment. We had yesterday, just before the keynote, we had the user groups. We had a 1-hour meetup. And we were discussing about exactly also this topic, how to introduce Scala and how to bring Java developers to Scala. And what we noticed is that we made bash Java a little bit too much. So you would see examples and people would make comments about how bad are things in Java. And I think that's not a productive way. I think we should focus more on the positive aspects of Scala and people will come instead of bashing what they. I mean, I myself also I earn my living with Java at the moment. So if we bash Java too much, that I mean, negative comments nobody likes, not only Java but anybody.
Yeah, that's a really good comment. I mean, you know, we often rail against the idea that the Scala is just an evolution of Java, right? It's not really. In a lot of ways, it's a very different language, but. In presenting it to somebody who's very embedded in the Java space, you know, saying, look, I can program, I can do exactly what you can do with half as much code is an evolution towards a better style, right? For sure.
Right. One more person here.
One more.
Thank you. Just a comment on how to introduce people to Scala. How it works at our company is during lunch break, we're showing videos about Scala, some real code examples, and people were really motivated. And also, we organized a hackathon for 2 days, and we encouraged many people to try Scala and play. And personally, I was also new to Scala, and I found I was very productive. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and one guy's going to do one more, and then we're going to move on to the next question. Get some more cards in the air.
Thank you. Just very quickly, I think, just to address the, we found it hard to, or challenging to build a technical team. We had a roundtable event before the keynote yesterday, and we heard from sort of 3 companies that were successfully implementing Scala and TypeSafe stack systems. And all 3 of them independently mentioned that actually finding the right people was relatively easy for them because it's such an innovative and relatively new stack. There's tons of people out there that really want to work for companies that use this properly. So by blogging and sort of shouting about it and kind of going down the Netflix route is a really good way of building a team. And you probably get the right people in with the right attitude then.
Okay. All right. So Alex, I think it's your turn.
Sure. Okay, so let's talk about maturity a little bit. So if green is for you've adopted platform and you're fine with the maturity of the platform in general, and red if you're worried about the maturity level of Scala as a language, Play and Akka as frameworks. So let's see green and reds. Okay, so some reds people are worried about maturity. Oh, you got reds and 2 multicolors. Excellent. Do you want to share some of that because that's interesting?
Yeah, why not? Again. Yeah, like I said, so we are transitioning a Java application to Scala and Akka. It works quite well. So, but like moving through it for a year, about a year now. So we noticed that like moving from versions of Scala from more, let's say, pre-2.10 to 2.10 or to newer versions of Akka, so the APIs and the behavior is not quite as stable as we would have expected. So that seems to be, yeah, still developing. So it's kind of keeps things interesting, but it's kind of raises sometimes questions with management as, have you chosen the right platform because it's still moving at such a quick pace. So we're still convinced that we've chosen the right technology, but we have to answer questions from time to time.
Excellent. Anyone else? Yeah? You'd like to share some? Yeah.
Hello, I'm Alex from Cake Solutions. Sort of following on from the point that the guy at the front made, that yeah, there's lots of frequent releases of all of the Scala infrastructure, which is quite painful between releases. But looking at how infrequent the Java releases are, that it's years, I'm sure that the pain for upgrading from 1.4 to 1.5 was extremely painful, but it was 2 years apart. So I think the fact that it is painful, but there's so much progression in the releases, mean you get lots of new things. So it's painful, but definitely worth it.
Okay.
Anyone else?
You got a couple of, you got some hands up there.
Again, it's just a quick thing about that as well, is there's a difference between maturity and stability. For me, I find it's stable enough, but when you move from version to version, that's a different thing altogether.
So I guess you're talking about the difference between finding bugs and defects versus. Okay.
Hello, yeah, my name is Rajesh. I'm from Springer, India. So we are working on the Scala platform since 4 months in India. It's been like 3.5 years in London. But what the developers are struggling are, when you're talking about productivity, trying to find quick solutions, ready-made solutions, libraries around Scala. That's, I think, still a challenge, because when they're so used to with Java, when they want to do something, they find something very quick and easy to implement. But here, sometimes we have to spend a lot of time trying to write something from scratch. I think that's one. I think having a bigger community around Scala, I think, will help. Anybody who's new looking at Scala, trying to search for something, and when you post a question or something, you don't really find anything. Sometimes you don't even get any help from somebody. I think that's kind of demotivating the people who are already into the Scala platform. So that's my take on it.
Anyone else? A few hands. Excellent.
I'm Ryan. I'm with a startup named Conspire. We find that the core of the environment is sufficiently stable for our use, play, Scala, Akka. It's the edges of the environment that give us concern. IDEs, the build tool, code coverage utilities, these sorts of things, which other environments like Ruby on Rails or Java have in abundance. They're very mature and very clear in their use. But those the Scala equivalents of those tools are still young, buggy, difficult to set up, or they're just solo projects and the developer isn't full-time, so you don't get a lot of forward movement, or bugs aren't fixed very quickly. And we have a lot of challenges in getting those tools set up and running in our environment.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Simon, work for Thomas Cook. We've been using the Akka Scala stack that we have. We've been using it for about half a year on one project. And what we've noticed is that a lot of things which have been marked as experimental are in fact quite mature already. What we have seen is that the tooling around it, so Scala IDE or the IntelliJ plugins, are not extremely stable. So those kinds of things would have to be solved for us in the future, but the platform itself is quite stable according to us.
So this is really interesting. If I can sum up the theme of what we're hearing here, is it sounds like the general impression is that everything may not be mature in terms of it's still evolving very, very rapidly, but it is stable and production ready. And that's, I think, a really good point if you're trying to convince your organization to go forward with this, that you can say, look, we're getting new features all the time. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of interest in the platform, and it's also stable. And that's a really good pitch to have. One more. We're going to do one more, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, red for benchmarks, green for integration. Okay, integration, go. All right, so we have successfully integrated the platform with enterprise tools and legacy systems. I'm going to throw legacy systems in as well. Throw up a green. If you are having challenges with integrating the platform with, oh my goodness, legacy systems and current infrastructure is blocking us from trying to integrate. Here we go. Let's go with red and green. I've got the two sides. Nice and high. Okay. Let's talk about challenges first. So some red cards who are willing to talk to us. Keep your red card up if you're willing to have a chat. So you got a couple there on the right, Alex. We've got one down here.
Hi, I'm Dan. One of the things that we've had trouble with integrating with Scala is one of the core frameworks that we use in our company relies on single-threadedness in order for it to work. It's got a lot of thread local stuff. And when we tried using Akka, we find that to be a real blocker sometimes. I was just wondering, does anyone have any ideas about how they can get around that without rewriting this library? We just don't have the bandwidth to do that.
You're just instantiating a bunch of this single-threaded stuff and pulling this. That's it.
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, probably. We used the web services library, and it was just a plain class, which was a wrapper, which is using network library. So probably, if you are massively using this service, you should use pooling in order to reuse these objects, in order to probably keep the connection open. Actually performance boost, and pooling solutions are available. You know, we have a lot of conventional stuff like Apache. You can write it yourself easily. That's not the complicated stuff.
Okay, so maybe we can let you guys connect up after.
Yeah,
cool?
sure.
That's great. Awesome.
And I casted a red card too, because in the companies which are mature, web services are still. SOAP web services are still used quite a lot and extensively, and it's not concerned as the legacy stuff. It's like the state-of-the-art technology for the enterprise today. However, in the Scala community, it's mentioned that it's like we having our nice messages or something like that, and the only library that provides web services is Scala XB, for me it was kind of frustrating that it was not updated for like 2 years, and that the method signature was stating that it's blocking. So you're doing web services and it's blocking. So you're kind of throwing out this parallelism thing. So we were thinking about doing this, like rewriting the stubs that was generated, which is a lot more job. However, I've heard just yesterday that they actually was making a great step forward, so probably that would be resolved, but still there is too few competition in this area. So if that guy who is doing this library will leave, all of the companies adopted Scala and using it for web services will just, I don't know, just stuck. So that's kind of risky. If somebody who could provide a solution for using web services, that's going to be nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, cool. So we're running low on time now, so what we're going to do, you guys have in your hands, you have a red card and a green card. On the back of the red card, there is some empty space. If you are interested in continuing this conversation with us, please write your name and an email address or something like that on the empty space in the back of your red card, and hand it back to Dave or Patrick as you guys leave the room. Really appreciate everybody's participation in this session. As I say, go check out go.typesafe.com. If you have any comments, questions, anything like that, if we can help you with getting Scala, Akka, Play adopted within your organization, please let us know. It's what we do. And thank you again. We've also taken a transcript of this discussion, so we're going to use it to try to improve the GoTypeSafe tool. And if you write your name on email on the back of the card, we'll also send you the results of this discussion. So thanks again, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the conference. We really appreciate it.